Welcome to the Sharp Way Show. I am so happy to have you here. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, which means you've got to look at my mug. That's the rule. Sorry about that, but that's how it works. I don't make the rule. Well, I do make the rules. I both make the rules and enforce the rules. So yes, you have to look at my mug at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I know what you might be saying, but Larry, it's Monday. So that means we have to do an AMA. Well, I haven't done an AMA in a while because I've been busy crossing the state trying to get signatures. But I have something even more special for you today. Not an AMA for me, but an AMA for someone else. And those of you who've been following this show, you know he's been on this show a couple times, usually talking about cybersecurity. But this time, he is going to shock you and discuss something else. It is the man himself, the man running for county commissioner out there in Indiana. Yes, and I still have him here. He is here doing it, the man himself, Tommy Brown. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Larry. You?
I'm doing awesome. I'm glad you're joining me today. And again, for those of you who think this is going to be a good show, you're right. So do me a favor, like, comment, and share. Let people know this is happening. Let people know that we're talking so that we can make this kind of thing more and more popular. So, Tommy, the thing that most people think about when they think about libertarians and economics, they think that it's simple, that it's just cut the government out, and that's the only answer. But there's more than that. Obviously, we want to cut the government out, but there's more than that. At a local level, state level, federal level, there's so much more to that. And you have tried to grab kind of a hold of this with what you're calling, if I get it right, 22nd century capitalism. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is actually that concept. Mm-hmm. It came from the old Ross Perot videos that you see on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I've taken a lot of my economic stance from Ross Perot, and I've kind of morphed it to make it fit me to where I understand it. Because if I don't understand it, I can't make nobody else understand it.
100%. Yep, absolutely. So give me a break. I mean, I remember Ross Perot. I voted for Ross Perot. So I remember Ross Perot, and I thought he was going to go fix everything, right? That's what I thought. I remember his idea of what we're going to look under the hood, figure out what's wrong. Remember that? That was his saying. And then he had the charts and stuff. He did all that stuff. I remember. So tell me what this 22nd century capitalism is about.
Well, right off, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Washington County currently is $16 million in debt. That debt is from the 2018 jail project. It's all bonds. And unfortunately, those bonds are interest backloaded. Toward the end of the bonds, there's one or two of them that the interest rate's going to jump from less than 2 up to over 3.38%. Washington County's only got a population of 28,000 people.
Well, hold on. I want to touch this real fast because you bring up a very important point. Most people know about the idea of bonds. And when they think about bonds, they think, bonds are a good way of a government raising money. They think that's paying for it. They think that the bond is an easy way. People love bonds, but you're saying this is a problem.
It is a problem because the bond payment is $234,500 every time it's due.
Got it.
Since 2018, Larry, they've only paid down a little over $1 million off this debt. If you take the debt currently, it's 16 million and something. If you break that down by population, it's well over $560 per person.
Got it. And that's just one county you're talking about.
That's just Washington County. That's just one county. And see, that doesn't take into effect the debt of what it costs to actually operate fire, EMS, county PD. That doesn't take in regular expenditures, which I think EMS and police debt right now is somewhere in $660,000 range, which I'm going to be honest. If that was all it was, Larry, I wouldn't have a problem. This would be easy to deal with. But we're dealing with a debt of $16 million. Our U.S.
in a county of 28,000 people. I mean, that's crazy.
Right. Well, and let me throw something else at you here real quick. Indiana as a state has a poverty level for adults of 11.9 poverty rate. Washington County has a poverty rate for adults of 12.1.
Wow.
Hang on, I'm not done. The state of Indiana for children 18 and under has a poverty rate of 15.1%. 18 and under is 15.1 for the state of Indiana. Washington County, Indiana has a poverty rate 18 and under of 17.7%. We're 2.5% above what the state's holding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
well, you know, the reason why I like you bringing this up is, and some people might say, Larry, why are you focusing on one specific county? There's a reason. Libertarians always talk about localism. Tommy, I know you're about localism too. We're all about localism. And when you're talking about localism, it doesn't mean all of a sudden the problems go away. It just means now you got to deal with the problems locally, and you can deal with them locally. And so we have to still, debt is still a problem, whether it's national debt, state debt, you know, county debt, city debt, town debt. It's still a problem. And I like that you're bringing this up. Every time we talk, Tommy, what I like about it is you always bring what is local, and then people get it. Well, you know, local does matter. I love this part. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just liked it. Keep going.
That's fine. You know, U.S. News Reports here a couple years ago done a survey on how safe is Washington County. It was 100 points total for each category. Washington County's overall score was only a 39 out of 100. The economy, which is what this show is going to be based on, and that's what I'm going to focus on, is economics. We only scored a 47 for economy. Our public safety was at a 35. Our infrastructure was 48. You know, Larry, you can't build a $16 million debt when everything that U.S. News Reports says is below halfway. We're not even average. We're below it.
That becomes the next part, right? People often say, why do you sometimes focus on economics so much? And it's right to your point. How am I going to fix the other problems if I don't somehow raise revenue and or pay off my debt? And if my debt is so high, I've got to service my debt. And you told me that they're only paying $1 million off of the 16 million. So they're still taking a chunk of the budget just to service the debt, not even getting rid of it, just to service it. How are you going to fix the roads, or how are you going to build out your economy, or how are you going to make sure that people can show up and go to work, fire, EMT, all that stuff, right? How do you do emergency services? Absolutely correct.
It's a slippery slope. And unfortunately, you know, you and I've talked before, and I've said this many times. I believe right now, Washington County, Indiana is at critical mass. If we go any further up this slope, we're going to be on a downhill slide, and there's not going to be a return. And Larry, you know, I hate to say this, and I hate to point fingers at one political party, but there's only one party in control in Washington County, Indiana, and it's the Republicans.
I know what you're talking about, except in my state, it's Democrats. But I understand exactly. One party democracy does not work out well.
No, it does not. So hopefully, I'm hoping that my policy, one, will make sense to the viewers. Two, it'll grab the voters and shake them enough to say, hey, wait a minute, there is another way to do this. And it's not hard to understand what's hard about it. It's hard to implement, because we have been in a tax and spend ideology since before 2018. But let's just go from 2018. It's tax and spend. They spend obscene amounts of money. They've already raised property taxes 2 or 3 times. The only thing else they could do is possibly sales tax.
But hold on, is your county falling into that one trap that I can't stand, which is when things get tough, they start using law enforcement as a profit center. All of a sudden, there's speed cameras, or all of a sudden now there's new laws. They're going to fine you for this or fine you for that, or the hunting license fee gets tripled, or that kind of thing. Are they playing that game?
Somewhat. Their big thing is they want to arrest drug users, and yeah, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. I am the only county commissioner candidate down here that has a drug plan. I've had it printed up and it's been revitalized a couple times, but I've had it in my arsenal since 2018.
Got it. Okay, so let's walk down the economic plan. Give me a chunk of it. Give me the first piece or whatever you want to talk about. Give me the first part.
Okay, so here's how this breaks down. 22nd century capitalism is based upon three words: localize, mentor, and grow.
I love it already.
So I knew you was gonna like it. So let's look at localize first, and then we'll go to the next two. So what I mean when I say localize is, I'm fine with bringing outside business in. All right, that's how you're going to grow. But when they get here, okay, we've got to make them feel welcome, and we've got to let them find their localization niche so they fit into the community, so they don't feel like outsiders that are here for just one purpose. No, when they come in, we want to make them feel like family. Hey, you're in Washington County, you're family. We're going to take care of you just as like you're going to take care of our people. So that's the localized thing. Plus, we want to focus on the mom and pop stores that built Washington County.
Hold on. I want to go to that spot you said, right? You said you want to make them feel like family. My worry is, and you got me worried now when you say that, because my worry is, does that mean you're going to give a bunch of tax breaks to the big business when they come in to make them, to make them feel better? That's what we do in New York State, right? We're like, here's all the tax breaks, here's all the cash. Come on in. I got a feeling you're going to tell me I'm wrong on this, but that's exactly where my head went.
No, you're wrong. What I mean by making them part of the family is showing them the same cordial openness that we have showed the mom and pop stores for years.
Got it. Okay.
Making them feel like a family is, okay, hey, the community supports you. They will help you, make sure that you have employment or workers. The workers are going to brag about, hey,
I see what you mean. Okay.
Hey, we've got this in Washington County, but nobody else does. Washington County is leading in this area.
Okay. I got you. So okay.
Now let's move to mentor.
Can I touch one piece here?
Go for it.
The thing you've just brought up is something that we don't do well locally in general, because we wait for the federal or the state government to do everything. You're right. We should be sitting here saying, okay, when business comes into our counties, we have literally recruitment centers, right, to put people in, right? Maybe even our local community colleges, right, are prepared to train people to go into these new jobs. All these things. And I think we never do that. I think you're right. We just assume that we'll just do tax breaks. They'll come in and that's it.
Well, and here you just made me think of something else. See, and this is probably going to get me a lot of heat, Larry, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Say it.
Washington County has what they call a growth economic partnership.
That sounds bad already.
It is bad because they've got more red tape preventing business from coming in. My solution is, and I'm going to steal a line from John F. Kennedy, may he rest in peace. I'd like to splinter that thing into 1,000 pieces and send all the business grabbing back to the responsibility of, one, the people of Washington County, and two, let the people work with the Chamber of Commerce.
I've said that before. I'm with you. My God, I just talked about the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, look, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. The Chamber of Commerce has its issues too. But compared to the government partnerships, oh my God, I take Chamber of Commerce any day of the week.
Exactly. Well, and see, and I had told Ken Armstrong this in 2018, and he fell all over it. He's like, "You're taking that back to the 80s, buddy." I was like, "Yes, but it's an 80s concept with a 22nd century idea behind it. And part of that idea is, see, I want to increase volunteerism. Volunteerism will get you further than anything, because good ideas don't require force. So what I want to do is I want to set up a Citizens Job Action Committee. And what this
Citizens Job Action Committee. Okay.
Yes. What this committee will do is, if, like, whoever's on the committee, if they go on vacation and they see a business that they like, they have full right and full authority to go into that business and say, hey, I'm from Washington County, Indiana. Can I get some information on maybe you guys setting up a satellite store, bringing expansion to Washington County, Indiana? Because I think it would fit. Let people have a say in what's going to happen. The people, Larry, I'm telling you what, the people down here are getting muted big time.
I like what you're saying, because there's two things I like what you're saying. With this CJAC, I like that, the Citizens
Job Action Committee.
Job Action, the CJAC. I like the CJAC idea, and I like this idea because two things. One, most of the time, sadly, when the state wants to put a business in your area or anything in your area, in New York State, it's always going to be like windmills or solar panels too, or whatever the case may be. They don't actually ask the local people. What they do is they give the local people some chance to talk, and the local people come out, talk to the government agency that's going to put it in there. The government agency nod their head, ignore them, and do whatever they want. But if you have this CJAC, now the people can actually say yay or nay. And you know what? They're going to be wrong sometimes because they're human. But if all the counties copy what your county's doing, then some of the people are actually going to be able to figure out what's right and what's wrong. And when Washington County said yes, some other counties said no. And they're like, man, we messed up. Washington County did it right. We should have copied them. And you'll have a learning curve throughout the entire state. And there's another piece. Some businesses aren't going to fit well in Washington County, and some are. Some are going to fit better in other counties. And then they'll figure out which ones are going to be the right ones.
You hit the nail on the head. But the key to that is the chamber has the majority of the control. People have a say, but the chamber is the one that's going to finalize the deal. People are just pushing the info out. And that's what I want. I want community involvement. Without it, you have nothing. So the second word in this is to mentor. It is no secret Washington County has an aging workforce. So what we need to do is we need to encourage the older workers to mentor the younger workers.
Okay.
And we also need the younger workers to, in some ways, mentor the older workers to say, hey, wait a minute. I see what you're doing, but let's work smarter, not harder. Let's try this. If I'm a younger person and I say that to an older person, be like, look, if I'm wrong, I will admit it. We'll go back to doing it your way, but can we try this? We've got to get mingling of generations. That inspires conversation. It inspires acceptance.
You just brought up something, because I was just watching Bill Maher last Friday, and Bill Maher is always talking about how he hates the Gen Z or he hates the millennials, right? He's always talking often about the idea of what you just said, basically intergenerational warfare, right? He's unhappy with the new or the youngsters, which I think that's normal. We always hear that, right? The older generation goes, oh, you dumb youngsters don't know anything, right? That's common. So tell me, this seems almost like human nature. So how do we encourage people to mentor when what they want to do is go, these dumb young guys don't know anything, right? That's what I want to do, right? So then how do you get me to make that adjustment? I just had Logic pick up. He just says, sure, we need that for tradesmen, which is the perfect example of that, right? 100%.
Yeah, I agree with him.
How do we do that?
Well, the first thing is you've got, again, good ideas don't require force. If you can get 2 or 3 of the older generation to start mentoring outside of work, then the workforce will automatically gravitate to that, because, hey, all right, John over here has got 35 years with us. And CJ goes over to John's house every day after work, but yet John's mentoring him at home, when they're out for a barbecue or they go out for a cup of coffee or whatever. And then what it does is it floods over into the workforce. And then John's
okay, but so are you saying that this should be like a big brothers, like a big brother, big sister nonprofit? Should this be like a government program that encourages? How do we make this happen? Because I think the audience likes it. Shelley says the only way to become a good electrician is to follow a good electrician.
Exactly.
So how do we actually facilitate this? I love the concept, but I'm struggling on how do we facilitate this on a local level.
Well, the first thing we're going to have to do is, once I get into office, it's going to mean sitting down with the workforce, one company at a time, and be like, look, if we don't start teaching the younger kids how to do what you guys are doing, that knowledge, when you guys go away, is going to be gone. And we need to, I hate to use this because I hate doing this. You kind of got to pat them on the head. And I hate using that analogy, Larry, or pat them on the back or whatever you want to say. But, you need to look at it from the standpoint of, hey, look, you've been here X number of years. We trust you. You've got a lot of knowledge for the job. Help these younger kids grasp what we're doing here.
You're saying that you specifically, as the county commissioner, are going to start going into your local business and saying, hey, let's get this plan up and running.
Absolutely.
That actually is amazing. I love that. So you're going to practice what you preach. After work, you're going to go to these places and say, hey, why aren't we mentoring? Why aren't we setting up facilities to start mentoring?
Exactly. And you have to, because if you go back to the founding documents of this republic in every state, an elected official is not there to be a money grubber, and he's not there to be for a lifetime. He's a public servant and a statesman. If I'm not practicing what I'm saying right now, I'm just as bad as anybody else that's a career politician.
Yep. Absolutely. So Fishmail says a lot of old guys are burnt out. If you found someone willing to teach you, it's rare. I think this is what Tommy's saying, right? Because the workforce in many counties, particularly upstate, most of the youth is running to cities. But when you have more rural or suburban areas, I think this is a common issue, right? You have tradesmen who are older, they're getting burned out, and they don't want to teach. Like, I'm done, right? I don't want to do this. And I think Tommy's point is someone's got to encourage them to not give up, to go, you know what? Let's start training and helping. Because I do see it in New York State, the average tradesman in New York State is over 50. Look, I love my over 50s. I'm over 50. I love them. The issue is that shouldn't be the average. The average should be 35, right? That should be the average, right? The average is far too high. I think you're totally correct.
I am. Honestly, I'm going to be truthful with you, Larry. I'd like to see the average age of the workforce below 35 years old.
That'd be nice. But I take 35, but I'm with you. Yes.
Right. I would like to see it down, 27, 28, with your senior guys more or less kind of be like, all right, you've got the basics. I'm going to step back. I'm here if you need me. You're going to run it. That's what we've got to start mentoring, Larry, or we're never going to get nowhere.
I like it.
Now we're going to, hang on. We got a comment here.
Logic says, I think Gen X and my millennial brothers and sisters were sold the lie of college to get a good job.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Amen. I have no problem with anybody bettering themselves with college courses, but do not get sucked down that drain hole of, if you get a college degree, you'll have a job. I've got people in Washington County with college degrees working at McDonald's. Now now go tell them how great it was.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes, and yes. 100%.
No. So we can't. He's right. We cannot keep selling the lie of college. We have to broaden our horizons and sell the idea of trade schools, of work release programs, all that stuff that for years has just kind of been thrown in the trash can. We need to start pulling that back out and start using that. Because you know what? Once you start doing that, Larry, you fall into the third word, which is grow.
Grow. Okay, let's go down. Let's do it.
So you're starting to mentor. Your workforce average age is decreasing. You're retaining more younger people. The average age in the county, it starts to come down a little bit. It starts becoming a younger county by a little bit. Well, then other people from outside the county are starting to look, and they're like, hey, wait a minute. Their job force is growing. There's people moving in. There's a future there. Because my goal, Larry, is when I get ready to leave, should I be elected, I get ready to leave office, I want to look at it and go, you know what? They're on an 8-year track right now of jobs are coming in. The county's growing. The people are growing in knowledge. So workers are growing in skill level. We've got growth across the board. And as Ross Perot said, and I stole this from him, may he rest in peace, you show me, if I can show you that I can increase the job base, I will turn around and show you I will increase the tax base, and there won't be a need to raise taxes because the county's going to have more tax revenue coming in from the jobs that are being brought in. Larry, this whole county, other than maybe a few factories, we are basically a service level economy. And I'm sorry, service level jobs are not going to support a family. It's not going to do it. And if you think your workforce is going to stay on board in a rural community with a $15 minimum wage, you're crazy. It's not going to happen.
Joel says, I voted for Ross Perot.
Joel, so did I.
There we go. Yes, me too. So yes, all of us did 100%. Yes. So now you're going, so you basically grow is the result, right? So you're doing the part 1 and part 2, and you're getting part 3.
Absolutely. And the other part of growing is to be, see, this is something I want the Chamber of Commerce to really buy into. We've got to start focusing on the jobs of tomorrow. And
that's why you got 22nd century.
There you go. One of the biggest future coming industries there is, if anybody checks my group out, you're going to see a lot of posts on this. It's hydrogen fuel. Hydrogen is going to be the next big thing. I don't know. I can't tell you what tells me that, but I've done enough research on it. It's time to let Washington County lead in some area. Why not hydrogen? I don't care if we're making the containers for fuel cells. We're doing something for the hydrogen industry. I think right now, they're projecting that hydrogen will be the lead fuel by like 2050. Why wait? Why not start on this now?
Sure.
The other big industry is, and you're gonna be the first to hear me break something, Larry. So feel privileged. Solar, believe it or not, the solar industry, the solar industry is grabbing people like crazy. Right now, Indiana, there's programs out here. You can get solar put on your house for little or nothing. Why isn't Washington County attracting jobs in the solar field? Again, it's a job of tomorrow. You've got to start forward thinking, or you're going to be stuck in the same tax and spend ideology that we've been since 2018. You're still going to be $16 million in debt because your current elected county government is only interested in building feel goods and play pretties.
Yes. Grace says we wait because we regulate.
You're not wrong.
There we go.
You're not wrong. It's time to take that word regulate. It's time to cut that off and replace it with the word innovate.
Well, the funny thing is, what most people don't know what regulate was supposed to be, and we have completely bastardized this. Regulate meant initially to make regular, meaning that what the government would do is do things like say, whenever you're going to sell something, this is what a pound is, right? This is what an inch is. This is what a ton is. That's what it was, to make things regular, right? This is so you would know what you were doing. This is how long it is. These types of things that would make, so you wouldn't say, well, I'll give you a bunch of rope. No, I'm going to give you 6 feet of rope. And we both agree with what 6 feet of rope is, etc. That's what was supposed to happen, so that people wouldn't be scamming, so there wouldn't be fraud. So we understood what the language meant in a contract, right? That was what regulate was supposed to be, just making sure that we all understood the rules, and that the words, when I said a ton, you know what a ton meant, and I know what a ton meant, right? That's what it was about. But we have completely changed that. It's not even close to what that used to be.
No. And the other thing that's killing us right now is, and this is a national problem, but it affects rural communities. That's the inflation rate, Larry. The inflation rate has went through the roof. And that's why I feel like that my economic plan is the answer to rejuvenate this county. And as I said a minute ago, turn regulate into rejuvenate and innovate. And that way we can move forward, but we can move forward in a positive way. It doesn't cause a tax burden. People put more money in their pocket. They can provide for their families, and the younger people of the community can say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to go to a city. I can stay here in Washington County.
Yes.
I can get a job in a field of tomorrow and advance in that job. But Larry, and this is what I've been screaming from the time I started this campaign. This is never going to happen until the people of this county finally wake up, rise up, and say, you know what? He's right. We've been taxed too much. We've put up with far too much spending, and the economic program of the current administration is not working.
Yep. So what I want to do now is, if I could, I got to do a little bit of, I guess, housekeeping, if I could, for the moment. Look, you guys know that the show is actually sponsored by libertarianism.com. So guys, if you want to support this show, do me a favor, click that link that's in the description, that link right to that little bit.ly link. Go there, check it out. Take the test. It's a nice little test. You watch videos, take tests, and if you pass the courses, you get points. And if you get the cool points, guess what? You get cool merch for free. But if you do want cool merch without taking the test, you don't have to. You could just buy it if you want to. But if you want to, you take the test. It's good videos. It's interesting, and they support the show. And more importantly, if there are people who are curious about what libertarianism is about, this is the best place out there. Libertarianism.com. Head on over there. Support the show. Take this, share this link, tell your friends, go to yourself. It does matter. Now, you also might be saying, but Larry, I like merch, but I would rather have your merch. Well, you can have mine too if you want to. LarrySharpe.com/shop. Click there, get a cool shirt, get a magnet for your car because you love me so much. You want to put it on your car. All good. Get a hat, whatever cup. You can get a mug. You can get whatever's your thing. You can go ahead there, LarrySharpe.com/shop. You can absolutely go make that happen. I'd appreciate it. And Tommy, I got to grab a couple of comments. People are grabbing some specific comments about my campaign. Let me just knock these out real fast, and then I got to get back to you because they got a question about you too. Pete Clark says, "Where are we with signatures?" We are out there getting signatures like there's no tomorrow. I was out there doing 3 events this weekend. I'll be doing another one tomorrow, another one during the week, and I think 3 more next weekend. And I'm heading up to Western New York in the weekend also, like I think 8th, 9th, and 10th, I think. I'm going to be heading up to Western New York, do some more events there. I'm showing up. I'm putting out the time. I hope you guys are too. So let's please keep doing it. We are right now on track to just make it. That's not good enough. We got to go past that, right? We got to move more than that. Just make it's not good enough. So we got to push harder. If we push harder and we get enough past 45,000, then there'll be no issues whatsoever. That they won't even worry about trying to stop us from doing it. So Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Jackson says, Larry, realistically, what's your chance of making the November ballot? Very good. Once I make the signatures, I'm on. So yeah, the second I make the signatures, I will be on the ballot. It'll be me, and then probably I'm assuming Lee Zeldin and Kathy Hochul. Officially, they're going to have a primary, but I don't really think it's in doubt. The establishment of the two parties have picked it, and that's the establishment tends to win in New York State. So I do think it will be those three. I'm quite skeptical. Jackson, most people are, and you are all wrong. What I would ask you, Jackson, instead of being skeptical, get out there, give me some signatures. Do that instead. Don't be skeptical. Go to work. Way more important. Here's the reality. If for some reason I don't make it, this state's done. There's no one else talking about what I'm talking about. What Tommy's talking about. There's no one talking about this localization at all. No one is. So yeah. Avi asked, when's my next media appearance? It's actually going to be, I believe, is it? Oh, it's a podcast coming up here, popular podcast coming up here. I'll be announcing it in a couple of days. I think that's my next media appearance, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll also be marching at the Puerto Rican Day Parade too. I'll be doing that also. So I hope that part was clear. Jackson also asks, what are the chances of Cuomo running independent? I wanted him to run. I don't think he will, because I don't hear that he's getting signatures. He will need to also get 45,000 signatures, which he could get because he has all the money. He has $20 million in his pocket. He could just spend that and knock it right out. So I hope I answered a bunch of those questions. Now I got some for you, Tommy. Avi says, one of the issues that building trades have been stigmatized. Mike Rowe said we took the art out of building trades and made it seem more like primitive stiffs. We give youngsters the sense of empowerment and art in building trades, and they will gravitate. He's saying that we've made the trades, and I see this. I don't know if you see it in Indiana, but in New York, they treat tradesmen like they're the dumb kids or the bad kids. Yet they're the ones who are making all the money. They're the ones, who aren't in debt. They're the ones who actually have jobs. But if you go to school, they're like, oh, don't do that. That's for the dumb kids. I don't know. Does it happen in Indiana too?
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time. What we have to do, and especially here in Washington County, is we've got a lot of work to do to re-educate and change mindsets. Every kid in high school has automatically got it programmed into their head from school counselors and teachers. If you don't go to college, you're not going to make it. I'm sorry, that's wrong.
Yep.
It's actually degrading our kids. My former employer was Kroger. I was a meat cutter for years.
True.
There's no meat cutters coming up through the ranks right now because they're all thinking, well, I've got to go to college to get a degree. No, you don't. It's called hands-on learning. And
yes,
that's what we've got to get back to. We've got to get back, and that goes back to the mentoring thing. We've got to get the younger generation involved, and we've got to get their mindset changed that, hey, look, if your grades aren't up to par, it's okay. You don't have to go to college. You can get into a trade school. We're always going to need volunteer firemen. We're always going to need regular paid firemen. We're going to need police. We're going to need EMS. We're going to need sewer workers. We're going to need water plant workers. All these things that make our communities run, we still need these things. Yep. And if we don't get kids involved in this now, this not only Washington County and New York, the whole country is going to fall flat on its can, and everybody's going to be scratching their head going, where did we go wrong?
Absolutely. I agree. So I got more people talking about my petitions. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bug you, but I'm trying to wait. We got magnets now. Yes, you can get carb magnets and put them on your car. Says Larry Sharp for governor. You can pick them up at LarrySharp.com/shop right there. Some of you are asking about petitioning, right? And let me be clear about this. Avi asked if he's not a New York State voter, can he sign a petition? No, you can only sign a petition if you are a registered voter in New York State. You can come help if you want to. I mean, you can come out and hand out things. You can have signs to let people know to come there to get to sign when we have events. We're more than happy to have you come and help out. You just cannot sign a petition for me unless you are a registered voter in New York State. Correct. So Avi, if you want to come by and say hi, we'd love to have you. More bodies, the better. The events are great, but you can only sign if you are a registered voter in New York State. You do not have to be a registered Libertarian or registered Republican, Democrat. Just a registered voter is all that matters. Your party is irrelevant when it comes to that. So I hope that answers your question. Joel says, signatures bare minimum. Sign one witness, and send them to Larry. Here's the issue, though, Joel. I did a video. If you go to my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube page, there's a video on 2-to-1. If you look at that, you cannot witness your own petition. So if you want to get a petition, you get one. You sign it, get a friend. Your friend signs the other one. Then you swap, and you each witness each other's signature. So you may not witness I can't sign it and then witness it myself. Nope. If I sign it, someone else must witness it. So what you do is you print out two of them. You go to my website, LarrySharpe.com, click sign a petition. There's a link there, explains everything with a link to download the petition. It's right there. You download it, print out two of them. You sign one, your friend signs another. You swap them and you witness each, mail them in. The address is right there. So yes, that's how that works. I hope that was clear. So that's all it takes. Matthew says, put a link. It's LarrySharpe.com. Click where it says sign a petition. You can also go to my YouTube page, but my third or fourth video in is me and my daughter talking about exactly that. Click that link. It's also there too. So yes, I hope that was answering all of your questions. But I gotta do something, which I know you really didn't want to do. I know you didn't. However, the crowd is asking for it. Matthew says, did I miss the cybersecurity segment?
No,
see, you're famous. You're famous for cybersecurity, Tommy. You got to give me some cybersecurity. You got to give me some. You got to give me some. A little bit, something, a little bit. I know you want to talk economics.
All right.
But you got to keep the crowd happy too.
Okay. Well, right now, what's brewing in the cybersecurity world, guys, we've got to get cracking on local county governments forming cybersecurity policies. Once again, I'm breaking new ground because I'm the only commissioner candidate down here that has a cyber policy.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
and this is the point I want to bring up that I love. Most people think cybersecurity is a national issue. And you have been the one screaming from the top of your lungs, literally for years now, that it is not just that. It is a local issue. Local hospitals, local school districts. This is all information. And you were talking about ransomware attacks before it was cool. And now we talk about it. But you talk about it before it was cool.
Here's the problem, Larry. The ransomware rate is going up. And I hate to tell people this, but you got to look at it like this. Cyber criminals don't operate between 8 and 5. Don't operate that way. It doesn't operate that way. They don't operate between 8 and 5. A business can get a ransomware put on them after hours. And it's kind of mind-boggling because I wish I had the numbers in front of me. I don't, because I was so in tune with economics. I didn't bring my notes. But the other thing that is starting to really take hold here, and it's worldwide, is extortionware.
Yes.
If people don't believe that this is a local issue, let me give you a little food for thought. Look at Ukraine and tell those people that cybersecurity is not a local issue.
Very valid. Yes. I want to bring up these two pieces you just brought up, right? What people don't realize, ransomware isn't just some, big pipeline along the East Coast. Ransomware is your local doctor's office, your local hospital, your local school district, and now all of a sudden they freeze everything out and say, you got to give us X thousands of dollars or we're not going to let you have it. Or worse, you'll never get it back. Well, wait a minute now. Do they want to tell you? And this becomes a second piece. If I'm that hospital, I don't want to tell everybody that I got hit with a ransomware attack. So I'm going to hire a consultant who's going to negotiate the money for me. I'm going to pay them that. I'm going to pay the ransomware so I can get my stuff back. And I'm going to pretend like nothing happened because I don't want to tell people that I screwed up. So now everyone's going to pay more. And who knows if your security, if all your private, got out anyway, and then no one even knows. People aren't getting this. Matt says his school district got hit with ransom bad. This is an issue, yes.
Well, here I think 2 years ago, I'm sure everybody is familiar with Pearson educational books. Pearson has provided books for schools all over the world. They got hit with a cyber attack 2 years ago. And what happened is it dumped the information of over 700,000 students from high school to elementary school. These kids were basically paraded onto the dark web and left there. I found my notes, Larry, real quick. Right now, and this was as of 6/9 of 2020, 74% of hotels don't have a cyber protection policy.
Wow.
74%.
Wow. Yep.
72% of all enterprises do not have a response plan.
Yep.
70% of the financial report that finance-related cyber crimes now they're averaging $120,000 per hit. That's just on the financial sector.
Yep.
We haven't even touched healthcare yet.
Healthcare too? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I gotta go one step further though. You're talking about extortionware, and that actually scares me more because with an extortion attack, now I can literally control people, right? Because what most people don't realize is when you hack something, hacking isn't always just, like you see on TV, someone gets in a computer and goes, okay, I broke the password, I'm in. That's not, a lot of hacking is through individuals who go in and do things to give you information or to tell you something or to open the door for you, to give you the password or any of those things. And extortionware, all of a sudden now, I start telling Shelly, well, I got the secrets on you now. I'll let it out unless you give me the passwords to so-and-so. And all of a sudden, extortionware gets people to do things that may be even worse than just paying money for a ransom.
You're not wrong. And here's a way to look at this. Between ransomware and extortionware, the cyber criminals are taking a page out of our very own military's playbook.
Okay, go ahead.
What are they going after? They're going after command and control.
Yes.
They're going after command and control.
Yes, you're right.
They have stolen a page right from underneath our nose from Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it came from. Larry, you and I talked about the SolarWinds breach that happened. I knew that. I felt that thing coming.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to, and here's the simple thing. If we prepared now, is it perfect? No, it's not. Nothing is 100% guaranteed. But there are simple steps to be taken that you can avoid the risk. And what I mean by that is it comes down to one word, and it's education. My cyber
You brought this up more than once. Yep.
My cyber policy is based completely on education. It starts from the top and it trickles down. If you don't, you cannot be held responsible for what you don't know. If you don't know about it, you don't know you're doing anything wrong. You can't be held accountable for that.
Right.
It's educate, educate, educate. And, sadly, Larry, there's a lot of local governments. And all you got to do is, I tell you what, go over anybody that wants to see where I'm at on this. Go over to my Twitter feed. It's Tommy Brown III, #1. Go to my Twitter. go to my following and look who all I'm following as far as cyber goes. I've got contacts in Israel, in Europe, in London, and they're all and even here in the US, and they're all saying the same thing. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And what are they doing? They're trying to do the same thing that I want to do from an elected office. They're educating people.
Yes. And the point that I also like is most people think, because they're afraid, so they go, well, that means the federal government has to set all the rules and the guidelines for everything. And what I can't stand about that is, if that's true, you only got to hack one thing or know one thing. It's actually better. Thank you. That's my point. Decentralization is the goal. 100%. It makes it a whole lot harder to hack. If I got to hack, in New York State, we have 62 counties. So if I got to hack 62 counties or just one state, it's a whole lot harder to hack 62 counties.
I got one better than that for you, Larry.
Tell me.
Why not have each citizen carry a piece of it?
I like that even better.
Now you got to hack the entire population to get it. And
yep.
Our current sitting governor, I don't like him. I never have liked him. I got to pat him on the back again. I've done it on your last time I was on here. Indiana National Guard now has a cyber unit.
I remember you said that. Yep.
Should I get elected, I want to talk to the commander of the Washington County Division. I want to get them working with us.
There we go.
It gives them free practice, and I think it's a good PR tool. One, for them, two, for me. Everybody wins in the end. That's really where I'm at with this. But until people wake up and realize, look around, guys, your electric grid, that's the next big target.
Yes, it is.
Anybody that joins the group or goes to the group, scroll down a little bit. I just put up a brand new post, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, on the electrical grid getting hacked. If they figure that out, I'm telling you, the grid's going to fall like dominoes.
Yeah, agreed. We saw it when that happened. Was it 2003? We had the Northeast blackout. Was it that what it was?
Yeah,
that big blackout, 2003, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes.
One thing fell and the whole Northeast collapsed.
That's exactly what'll happen in a cyber attack to the electric grid. They'll get one piece of it and then it'll just start dropping.
There we go.
So Larry,
go ahead.
I see what time it is. I want to make time because I've got something brand new.
You read my mind. I was going to say, we're coming up in an hour. Tell me what you got. Go ahead.
Okay. So Larry Sharp, by the way, I'm going to put a plug out there for Larry real quick. Guys, you've got to help this guy get on the ballot in New York. You've got to. He's the only answer New York State has. He's the only man that I know that can fix New York's problems. I've endorsed this guy publicly several times. I'm going to endorse him again here. Get Larry Sharp on the ballot. Tell your friends, tell your family, get your kids involved. Believe it or not, kids are a sucker for the truth. If kids are talking about Larry Sharp, odds are the parents are going to follow suit because the kids are going to find him cool, which I think most kids do anyway. But so there's your plug, Larry. I gave you one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The new thing that we just broke, and this come from Larry Sharp himself today when he messaged me on Messenger. He mentioned something called Heartland Capitalism. Well, my team racked their brains a little bit along with me, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, guys, we can use that. Heartland Capitalism is stage 2 of 22nd capitalism, and it focuses on farmers. And here we go. Here's another one. It will also include all the local food banks and the farmers markets.
There we go. I like it.
If we can get that segment of the economy booming, and here's what I'm looking at doing. I want to form a Washington County hemp co-op. I want to form a Washington County corn co-op, soybeans, and hay. The trick with hemp is you get a hemp co-op in your county, that's automatically a processing plant. That's jobs.
Right. Yep.
If
I agree. Yep.
If we can get those co-ops set up, basically what my goal is I want the farmers that are established, even the new ones coming up. If you're in Washington County, Indiana, and you're a farmer, I need you to help me get elected so I can help you keep your farm, stay in business. Don't tread in the red where you got to write it off as a tax loss.
Right.
Be in the black and let people know, hey, Washington County's producing crops and the farmers are making money. They're not losing money.
There we go. I love that. Heartland Capitalism. I'm gonna tell people about that. That's all you, Tommy. I love it all. It's all good. I love it.
No, hey, we share ideas all the time. Heck, in 18, we shared people, so it really don't matter.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Well, I want to say thank you so much for giving me an hour today, Tommy. I appreciate it. I know you wanted to focus on economics, but the people wanted a little bit of cybersecurity off you, so you had to go shift in there too. I appreciate that, guys. Head over to his Facebook group. See what he's doing. You want to chat with him, see what's going on. He will respond to you. If you reach out, he'll respond. It's Tommy Brown III for County Commissioner District 2 Facebook group. Check that out. See what he's going on. He's got some other groups there too that he can talk about also. It's all good to do. I appreciate it. And if you guys want to help me out, LarrySharp.com. Appreciate everything. All the links are actually in the show description. I want to say thank you all for giving me a couple minutes this evening. Tommy, thank you. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, Larry. Anytime, brother.
All right, guys. I will see you.